we see the difference. We see the difference in the hatred in the goyim. It says there's a famous story with the Baal Tanya, that when he was in captivity, the KGB are holding him over there, and they're speaking to him in Russian. They're interrogating him in Russian. And he's answering them. Imagine someone's getting interrogated in Russia, and he's answering the soldiers and the KGB officers in Yiddish. Imagine they're interrogating in Russian, you answer them back in Hebrew. And they're getting frustrated, so screaming at him. And after a conversation of a while, they're trying to get out of him conversation. They want to hit him. And they tell him, speak to us in Russian, answer us in Russian. And he answers them like this. To Russians, non-Jews, I'm going to speak to them in Russian. But to a Jew, I'm going to speak to them in Yiddish. That was the language that they spoke back then, the Jews, between themselves. That was their language. It's like in the Sfaradim would speak Ladino. The Bukharians speak Bukharian. That's the language they have between them. And when they saw that, they were shook to the core. Why? These two people left Judaism 20 years ago. They married Goyot. They married non-Jews, and they have no connection to Judaism. And how did this rabbi catch the point that they're Jewish? And we see, and right after this story, they respected him a lot. They acted him with more respect. They took care of him. How much could you really take care of? But yeah. In this week's parasha, we see the hatred that the goyim have to us. We see it today with the Arabs. There's no such thing as I'm not going to get into that. But there's no such thing as someone that's innocent. We see it over here in this week's parasha. This week's parasha, we say in Perek Yud Pasuk Yud, ויסעו בני ישראל את עיניהם, והנה מצרים נוסע אחריהם. The Jewish people pick up their eyes and they see who's behind them? The Egyptian people. Now, if we look a little bit, it doesn't sound right, this pasuk. Why? Because it says over here, והנה מצרים נוסע אחריהם. Mitzrayim is a nation. I don't say America is walk over here. Because walking, or it's not exactly the right way to do it, but basically we have to say it in plural. You're saying Mitzrayim sounds like a person's name is Mitzrayim, one person, and he's driving behind Israel. Over here you have the whole Egypt, and instead of saying it plural, you're saying it like one person. Hine Mitzrayim nosea, hine Abdil Asaf nosea. Ilya is driving. That's it, like one person. What's the idea behind it? And the Rashi behind, and then it says over here, Nosea acharehem belev echad ki ish echad. We know we're going to see that there's also differences. It's brought also in Rashi. The Rashi said when the Jewish people weren't together, it says ki ish echad belev echad. Over here, but by the Egyptians, it says belev echad ki ish echad. That's how Rashi explains. What does this mean? The famous question is, we find in many places that when there's a group of people, we usually don't mention the group of people as one person. Only if they're doing the same action. I'll read the words of the question. שהכתוב מתייחס לקבוצת אנשים בלשון יחיד. כמו וירא ישראל את היד הגדולה אשר עשה השם במצרים. מהו ההכרח לפרש כאן שמצרים היו בלב אחד כאיש אחד? What's the idea? Usually if people are doing the same action or the same thing, so you can say they all saw. You don't have to say that each and every one in a plural tense. You have to say they all saw. There was an action over there. But over here, Rashi goes deeper inside their heart and he says, Belev echad ki ish echad. Mitzrayim nosea doesn't mean that they're all doing one action. You can't say every single person hates something the same level. Let's say someone does not like coffee. Okay, so if I put a group of 100 people in the room, not everyone's going to hate coffee. It could be 50-50, it could be majority they like coffee, only a quarter don't like coffee. Over here it says, Rashi says, Belev echad ki ish echad. The reason why he's saying nosea, that has to be the reason. That's what Rashi explains to us. So it comes over here and we say that we know that when people have different emotions, the Torah says it. En da'atehen shavot. So you see da'atehim, a lot of them are equal. They're not all of their knowledge together is not equal. Over here we see everyone's unequal. So what's the idea over here? So this beautiful idea said over here, kavanat milim, and the answer that he brings over here. V'hineh Mitzrayim noseh acharehem, eno pa'ula nesiya l'kshirat tzvam. We're not looking at that they're driving, and it says in one person's driving. Ela kavanatam. Rather to the rishut and the evilness of the Mitzrayim itself, every single Egyptian. שמתבטא ברדיפה אחרי ישראל. ולכן השימוש בלשון יחיד דורש ביור. That's the reason why we need to understand. Every single one is running after the Jewish people. The question is, does every single person hate every single person the same much? So Rashi comes and says yes. And that doesn't make sense. You can't have a whole group of people at the same level. Okay, then comes Rashi and says, ולכן מפרש רש"י, שעניין זה בעניין זה לא היה חילוקי דעות בין המצרים. כולם היו בלב אחד, לב מלא רשעות ושנאה לבני ישראל. ולכן רדפו אחרי בני ישראל, כאיש אחד נוסע אחריהם בלשון יחיד. They hated the Jewish people so much. Even though when they left, they said, we loved you. A couple of them said, we loved you, we missed you, Take our gold, take our silver. We're friends, we're good. Forget about all what happened. Let's cover the bad blood. Fake. They're telling you one thing. He says one thing, and those people that tell you one thing, and in their heart they mean something else. Not real people. The Mitzrayim over here, we see evil people. And the one thing that they gather for one cause together is to kill the Jewish people. They come all together, and Rashi says, Belev Echad, with one heart. All of them hate the Jewish people at the same level. So we have nowadays also in the 6-day war. You had all the Arab nations, even though by themselves, you have Sunni, you have this, every Shia, they hate each other. But in order to kill the Jewish people, what do? They gather together, everyone stays together in one to destroy us. Even though they can tell us, we love you, we hate. Bottom line, they're always going to have in their heart against you and to want to take over the second you're going to leave the guard down. Like we said, the famous mashal, the famous parable. There's a mashal that a Muslim, one of the how do you say, Ogir Deot of the Muslims said this. The Jewish people think that they have it, but it's all the cycle of the tribes. The cycle of the tribes is basically a tribe comes to the top of the mountain and they see a tribe on the bottom over there. And that tribe over there is feeling very, very comfortable. In the beginning, they see that they have very, very strong guards and stuff like that. Later, with a couple of months past, years past, and they see that the guards are becoming less stronger guards. You have like little kids over there standing with swords. They don't know what to do with it. And later on, when they feel it's the right time, they go and they attack. They attack and they kill everyone out, and they basically steal all their properties and all this beautiful place, and they stay to keep it for themselves. What happens? They're sitting over there, and they know what happened, how these people lost. So they put very strong guards in the front. And when they put strong guards in the front, they stay outside over there to protect. Then there's a tribe comes on the top of the mountains. The tribe comes on the top of the mountains, steers, and he sees they have very strong guards. We're not going to mess with them. Let's wait. They wait a year, 2 years. The kids become teenagers. They don't know what their parents saw and what their parents fought. So they're a little less on the guarding. They're more on their phones, or less on this. They lose their guard. And then the other tribe comes and attacks. And the same thing happens over and over. If we don't put our guard up and we don't understand, that if we don't put and watch ourselves and our children and what they're doing and what they're any small touch nowadays, any small touch can make a massive difference. Why? This doesn't matter the age. It could be they could be 1 to 40. In our day and age, if a person has to pass the age of 40, maybe Bezat Hashem is strong enough to do with that, because even that. We see it's very, very hard and every single thing. So we see over here that a person has to be shomer, has to be a guard on himself to understand that right is what we're talking about over here, the physical Egyptians hating the Jewish people. And really the idea over here is not only the Egyptians over here, it's also the around, all the mechsholim, all the things that we think it's whatever, I'll sit over here, hang out with them. It ends up going to roll into situations that I don't want, then it's situations that I can't control. Then when something happens, what can I say? So we have to be very, very important, especially in our day and time, also with the people around us. Amen.